Hello everyone. In today's video, I'm excited to be talking about a topic that has probably not been touched upon by a lot of people and is not very well known about. And that is to do with the chakra system and the personification of the chakra system, meaning how certain energies are personified to relate to the energies of the different parts of the chakra system. For instance, right behind me, Ganesha is associated with the root chakra. So this kind of means when chanting mantras or trying to connect with these higher energies, the appearance of that form is Ganesha, has been recorded down as Ganesha. Now, what are these deities? What are these higher energies? To explain this further, I am going to kind of caveat into a different universe. Instead of the Hindu universe, let's take a look at something like the Marvel universe or the DC universe. And let's try to understand how these characters can fit into the human body. How does that work? How can these different beings of energy fit into the body? How can we comprehend that? How can I comprehend that the root chakra is associated with Ganesha? So in order to do that, I decided, well, I'm going to explain a little bit about comic book characters and comic book teams and how those teams can culminate and come together to form a team. How all of these characters together can come together, form a system or a team to accomplish one goal. And in other words, how can these chakras be aligned in such a way that they can work together as a team? This system can work together as a team to accomplish one goal. Because together, we're stronger. So together, the chakras are stronger. Together, the Justice League and the Avengers are stronger. Okay, so what is it that I'm saying? Let's start with the Justice League. Okay, so in the Justice League, traditional Justice League, you happen to have 7 characters. Let's start from the beginning. You have the Flash, that represents the root chakra. Flash has the abilities and the power to phase through walls, basically meaning he can manipulate physical reality. He can run through walls. He can go anywhere in space-time within seconds. The physical realm is his realm of expertise. He can be from one side of the world to the other. Something else to know about the root chakra is balancing the root chakra, the legs will take care of themselves. Similar to the Flash, his legs, man, incredible speed, incredible power. So he's kind of the root chakra of the team. And also something to note about him is the root chakra has to do with beginnings and the stories that define you, also things to do with security and work and jobs. And Barry Allen always has trouble. He always is arriving to late work. He's trying to balance being a superhero, having this job. He has a tragic upbringing. But at the end of the day, he's a very human character, and he roots the Justice League to the ground. That's why him and Batman get along so well, is they're the only 2 humans of the group. Moving on to Batman, which is the Sacral chakra, which has to do with things like relationships. Batman has always been the person to get the team together. He's the one with the connections. His superpower is his wealth or his connections in the physical reality. He, if they need to go talk to, for instance, in the Dark Knight Rises movie, he was talking with a CEO in China or Japan. He's only able to talk to these people because of his relationships. And he also has a tragic upbringing, tragic story, has relationship issues just as well. But he's someone who is in charge of, bringing the people together, assembling the squad, bringing them all together, establishing relationships within the physical. All right, moving on to the 3rd chakra, the Manipura chakra. The character in the Justice League that resembles this chakra is Cyborg. This chakra has to deal with the battle between man and monster, man and machine, man and AI, whatever you want to call it. It's a recurring story. The reason being is this is the chakra that exists on the physical plane, is the gateway between the physical plane and higher planes, astral constructs, and the causal plane as well. Meaning this is how we can see this in the human body. This is how something like wealth, power, mass, like even just muscle power in that sense, can ultimately corrupt someone and turn them into a monster, make them attached to the physical pleasures, take advantage of relationships and security, bringing them down towards lower chakra desires. Or ultimately they can realize the human within, the light within, and move on to the heart. And so this is something that's very, with Cyborg, it's a reoccurring theme with him, where he's half man, half machine in this instance. And there's constant battle. Am I more man or am I more machine? But he's very powerful, very strong. And yeah, I'll talk about the Avengers next, and the Hulk is kind of the character. Spoiler alert until when I talk about the Avengers. But Hulk is this kind of character, right? He's man and monster, and there's a struggle between the two. And ultimately in the Avengers, he's like, oh, I can be both. I can be man and monster. So he really becomes a master of himself. Moving on to the heart, that's Superman. Superman is the leader of the group. And in the Justice League movies, spoiler alert, he gets killed, he gets brought back to life. There's a death and a resurrection, which has to deal a lot with the heart. Sacrifice, he sacrifices himself at the end of Batman vs. Superman. But yeah, this is the leader role. Every team has this. And then if we move on to the throat, which is truth, communication, all that, this is should be very obvious if you ever seen the Justice League, that this is Wonder Woman. So she's the lasso of truth, and she's also very adamant about doing what is right, despite what her heart may think. And this was evident in the recent Wonder Woman movies. I'm not going to go into all of this because I could go on forever talking about the movies and TV shows. And full disclaimer, I've never read a single comic book, so if I say something wrong, I apologize. This is just me. When I was a kid growing up, I loved cartoons and the movies. And so when I learned that the chakra system can be explained through these superhero teams, I'm like, well, this is great. This is a great way to explain to other people. It's a good way to comprehend it one way and then see, oh, this is how it is. This is how it's been in India. This is how Saturn and Dharma has been taught. Okay, and then moving on to the third eye, the Anja chakra, you have Green Lantern, who has, through sheer willpower alone, can create any construct his mind can create, can desire, right? So, he can create any object through thought alone. That has exactly to do with third eye functionality. And then Crown Chakra is like the gateway to other worlds, other dimensions, things like that. And there you have Martian Manhunter. Martian Manhunter is an alien. He's quite literally from another world. Crown Chakra can also deal with being a master of all of the chakras. And so oftentimes these characters have all the powers of all the characters. So Martian Manhunter, he's the strongest Superman. He can shapeshift, he can teleport, he can, transform himself into anything. So that's just an example of Justice League and how it's been done, that team. And if I just explained that one to you, it would just kind of seem like, oh, that's cool. You saw some parallels between Chakra System and Justice League. But it continues. It really works with quite any team that has worked successfully. So let's go talk now about the Avengers, and specifically the Avengers films. I don't know how the comic books of the teams are a bit different, but here we go. We'll start at the root. We have Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow, and her origin story is that she doesn't have a stable childhood, stable environment growing up. She's fighting for her survival since day one as a Black Widow. Okay, so her constant story is a fight for survival. The first time we see her in Avengers, she's all tied up, and we're like, oh, is she, fighting for her survival? And no, she's got everything under control because she's been fighting for her survival since day one. Deals with root chakra. Relationships, family, all of this. Hawkeye and his family is like the most prevalent thing in the Avengers. Like, that's his entire story, his character arc and everything has to do with family and relationships. Okay, and now if we move on, like I said before, the third chakra, Manipura chakra, the superhero in the Avengers is the Hulk. The battle between man and monster, right? And there's this struggle, like he's like, am I Hulk? Am I human? I don't know. And he goes through all these emotions. His character arc will actually go through the chakras as well. Once he realizes at one point, hey, I can combine the two. I can be Hulk and I can be Bruce Banner at the same time. Wow. Okay. And then the heart of the team, Iron Man, he was the leader. He ended up sacrificing himself in the end. The thing I'll point out is some people are like, well, Captain America's kind of leader of the team. A lot of times the team dynamics, the heart and the throat, they can kind of go back and forth at it, or who's leader, who's not leader. In different iterations, characters can move to different places. Like Batman can definitely be a character that sits in the throat chakra because he's kind of like co-leader, co-captain type thing. But this is the character that is more interested in doing they're kind of like the Thunderbolts, kind of. They're the characters that are more interested in doing what's right, even if it involves, doing things that may be wrong. If it results in the best outcome, then go ahead, go for it and do it. So I think in the Civil War, it was Iron Man was like, oh, we need to, be registered under the government. Captain America was like, no, we should be free. This is the right way to do things. And so oftentimes you can see these characters going back and forth, struggling between what's right in their heart and but what they know is the truth analytically, what their mind is telling him, this is the right path, this is the right thing to do. And then the heart can sometimes be like, no, like that's not it. Like you can't kill that person, even though like they'll, end up causing some apocalypse or something, So let's see. Now if we move on to Third Eye, in that film, it would be the... Drawing a blank on my superheroes here. I believe... I'm about to say Samuel L. Jackson, but I'm just trying to make sure there are no other characters I'm thinking of that I'm missing, because I wouldn't want to miss an Avenger and make a ton of people upset. But yeah, it'd be Samuel L. Jackson. Samuel L. Jackson had the vision. He had the vision for this idea, the Avengers Initiative. He was given this vision of the future. Hey, this could be, and that's what this intuition has to do. It has to do with almost trying to be able to have a vision of the future, putting together a team. His vision comes true. He puts together the Avengers. And then the crown, you have the gateway to higher realms, which you have Thor and the Rainbow Bridge to Asgard. He is a god, quite literally from a different planet, as they explained in those films. Higher realm. Beautiful. So I just went ahead and explained how those team dynamics fit into the chakra system. It works for the Guardians of the Galaxy as well. I'll go really quickly through this one. But let's see. Oh, root chakra, Groot, very easily. Security, protection. He literally protects the whole crew. At the end of the Guardians of the Galaxy film, at the end, there's a whole explosion. He's the security. He's the blanket. And then relationships. Gamora has bad relationships with her father. That's her whole story, right? And then she has bad relationships with Chris Pratt as well. All the drama. And then you have Drax. And Drax is battle between man and monster. He has this daughter that passes. He's this very sentimental man, but then he's also at the end of the day a crazy monster man that will go crazy in order to protect the ones he loves. But again, he's he does transcend to the heart, doesn't become full monster. Heart of the group, Chris Pratt, Star-Lord. He's the leader, and like I said, Rocket, he always tries to be the leader of the group. That's why these two fight, but he's more about truth, and he's probably a little bit more smarter than Chris Pratt. He definitely is Rocket, but he's not the heart. He's not the heart of the group. And then you have the brains of the group. That is Mantis, not necessarily brains, but the emotional, mental, psychic character, Mantis. And then the last Guardians of the Galaxy film, you have Adam Warlock, and he is that gateway character to the higher realms. He's the otherworldly type cosmic being. In the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 film, they had Ego kind of be that character, how he was a living planet. But yeah, the reason why I'm explaining this, is because if you look at these teams as different, like you look at teams as individuals working together, individual components working together as a function to create the best possible outcome. If you can visualize that with the team, you can then go ahead and visualize that with the chakras. You can visualize these characters in the chakras. You can say, what would the Hulk do in this situation? What would Iron Man do in this situation? What would Captain America do in this situation, right? What would Wonder Woman do? Okay, so that's kind of the idea. But this is applied towards things that are outside of our experience, which are these cosmic beings and the deities. They are formless. They are formless energies, but they come in human form. They can be seen in human form because that is something that mirrors us. To say that we are in God's image, just to say that these energies to mirror us, right? Or if we are to mirror them, then we look like them in these images. That's why they're personified. That is all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Jai Mahakal.